So here we are back again, and we're talking about last night.
The secret show.
The secret show, which I am terrified every year, and it's all due to this man here, Chris Jordan.
Our director.
How did it first happen then?
Well, it wasn't really supposed to happen. They do something like it up at the Theatre Royal York, where I did 100 years ago. But I never planned it. But we did a Cinderella with Stephen Mulhern. He was good buttons.
Yeah.
And there was one gag in it, and it was a bit of a naff gag. And we literally, the night before the last night, we were having a chat in the pub, and he said, "Oh, that never gets a laugh, that gag. It never gets a laugh." And I said, "Well, it's because you don't deliver it right. You know, if you put the pause here, then it'll get a massive laugh." And he was saying, "No." I said, "No, put the pause here." And he said, "I tell you what, I'll put the pause there tomorrow night, and if that gets a laugh, I'll work for you next year for nothing."
Oh.
And so my brain started to go. So I thought, how can I? So I wrote to the whole audience, gave them a letter as they came in, told them what had happened, and told them about the gag. And of course, when he said it, they clapped, they laughed, they cheered, they stood up.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't work for me for nothing else the next year. He's not worked for me since, actually. But that's kind of how it started, and we've sort of built it up ever since. And then we started getting some kind of guest artists in and pulling in favours. And I don't know, how long have we been doing it now? 10 years?
Oh,
maybe
easily.
Longer?
It may even be longer, yeah.
Well, I first heard about it, and I live in the town, obviously, because I'm a local lad. And,
You're cheap.
cheap. But I first heard about it. I was doing pantomime with Scott St. Martin.
All right.
Your very best friend.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, wow, guess what's happened to my mate Martyn down at Eastbourne? They were doing their show, and all of a sudden, a marching band came on."
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's
that
right.
was
It was Sleeping
Sleeping Beauty?
Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yes, very formidable.
And a wonderful, wonderful actress called Shona White. She was Scottish, and she was playing Fairy. And they did 500 miles, and there was a point where everyone came out into the auditorium, the whole company.
That's right.
And I had this idea, wouldn't it be great if we just stopped the song in the middle? And I managed to find the Eastbourne Pipe and Drum Band, so a load of bagpipers. We hid them out the back, 15 of them, and they suddenly came on stage playing bagpipes and playing Scotland the Brave, I think.
Yeah.
And that was a big one.
Oh my gosh, and there's been so many since, isn't there?
I mean, in the industry, everyone kind of talks to me about it and asks me about it. And my very first, we did Sleeping Beauty, and that's the very first time I experienced it. I can remember walking on the stage, and I just couldn't fathom how the audience all did it as one. And that very first time I ever experienced that one will always be with me. And that's when I used to do a gag in Sleeping Beauty with my leg.
Oh yes.
My leg used to fall off.
That's right.
Right, the leg used to fall off. And
It happened every night, didn't it?
well, you know, it was a cod. It's called a cod. Hey, you know, let's not go into that. Let's not give all the secrets away. So I did it. The leg fell off. The whole audience proceeded to pick up from there a leg, and they were all waving the leg.
Well, you know why they were waving it? Because, if you remember, I had got a special guest in.
Yeah.
He was hiding behind the screen on stage.
And then,
And I knew that one, yeah.
yeah. And Martyn went to me, "Tucker?" And I was like, "Why are you calling me Tucker?" He went, "I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Tucker." And then
Yeah.
Todd came
And then
out.
Todd Carty came out from behind the screen, who's a bit of a childhood hero. of
Yeah,
course,
and
isn't he?
I was absolutely
You all
gobsmacked.
suck.
I wanted to give him a cuddle. I was like, like that. And then my son
And
always...
his son always looked on the bright side, and then they picked up the legs. That's
Yeah, the
right.
legs all comes down. Oh, it was brilliant.
I'd never forgive you for the one that recently you did with the rocking boat.
Dick
When you
Whittington.
phoned me up and he said, "How are you, Martyn?" "Oh, I'm all right, my knee's bad." I said,
That was
you know,
before we started, I phoned you, not for the
Yeah,
last night.
yeah, before
Yeah.
you started, and I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. You know, my knee's bad. I've got osteoarthritis. I'm having it replaced in a couple of weeks." But he said, "Oh, well, I've got this thing about doing a rocking boat. Did you watch that Morecambe and Wise sort of sketch where the water comes through and everything?" And I'm going, "Yeah." And he said, "It'll be fine. I'll make sure there's a handle for you to hold on to." I lived in fear every night, and I knew on the last night something's going to happen.
I've
It
never
used to go
seen,
like this, didn't it?
Like that, wow!
I've never seen your face so. You was like, well, you hate fish.
I hate fish. I mean, I don't like fish at all. The smell of it, it's just hideous. So there we are. What should have come through was some water.
A little bit of water, that's
a little
it,
bit
yeah.
of water. But all of a sudden,
It would get stormy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We'd all rock about.
this fish fell onto the floor. Now, I thought, in my innocence, I thought it was a rubber fish.
Yeah.
So I bend down to pick it up, and I then suddenly realise it's a real fish.
Smell of. Oh, and we're encased in there with.
Yeah, but no, not one fish. Not one fish. We then have a great big octopus come through, followed by a ton of sardines or something. And by this time, it's like walking past the
That's making my
fisheries
head hurt.
that people remember. It was just like, and I was gagging. And I knew it had to end with a pie in my face.
Yeah.
And I kept saying to you, just put the pie in my face. I can get off.
Just my face, me.
I want to get off. And then we went backstage, and the smell.
Oh man.
What people probably don't realise is we do something like that, and of course, the whole of the backstage are in on it. The only people that know nothing about these things are the cast, and even the wardrobe and the backstage and the props have to know about it. So Paul Louise and Emma, they then had to clear it all up, and the place just stank of fish.
But it's funny with these last night guys, because you really, honestly, don't know what's going to happen.
No.
You do not. But then all of a sudden, you'll see Hibs Nibs run by with this earphone on and this piece of paper and goes, go off stage when you say that line.
Quick, yeah.
Right, and so you go off stage and think, well, what do I do? What do I do? And you can see him running around, think something's going to happen.
Well, so
The thing I think to remember about it though is there's a bit of a tradition in last night gags in pantomimes, which I've always hated because the audience are always excluded.
Exactly.
So what I wanted to do was make sure that the audience are always in on the joke.
Yeah.
So we explain, the audience get a note with things that they have to do, and they explain, so they know often before the actors know what's going to happen, so they're really in on it.
And that's the magic. That's what makes the secret show work, because the audience have their written down in their memo of what's going to happen. And this is what was so beautiful for me. One of my favourite memories is Cinderella, right? I'm Buttons, and me and Cinderella sit down on the edge of the stage, sing "You Got a Friend in Me," and I, for some reason, while I'm singing that song to Cinderella, I'm eating a satsuma. Now, I knew something was going to happen when in this scene. I mean, it had to be for me, because I know him, and I know you, and I know something's going to happen, right? And I am like backstage picking up my prop, right? And they hand me the prop, as always did. There's my satsuma, and I'm like, oh. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I really thought...
I thought we were going to get a big orange or something.
I really was expecting someone
A
is a watermelon bomb like that. That's what you're going on with.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, go play with that.
Yeah.
So I'm gone there. We're on the edge of the stage. You got a friend of me. I start peeling the satsuma like that. And Cinderella, I always used to offer it to her, but she never would take it because I would always eat it all. So basically, I'd never shared. And so I got that, and I got the satsuma, I put it in my mouth, singing along. All of a sudden, my mouth is on fire, and I realise, because the audience know, because they're reading on their memo, we have injected Tucker's satsuma with chili powder sauce, right? So I put the first segment in, all right, that's all right, nothing weird. Put the second one in, my mouth's on fire, okay? Right? And so the audience have erupted. Then, in my weird brain, I've then looked off stage and I see Chris absolutely breaking up. I then go on then, Cinderella, have a segment of it. And Chris has gone, and
Did she take
it? And Chris went, and then he went, oh, come on. And she takes it, doesn't it? Well, she doesn't know. She's not in on the gag. In fact, she's the only person now who isn't in on the gag, because all the audience know it's got chili powder, and I know she still doesn't know. And when she takes it, her face literally lights up. It was one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed.
I got a clip of it. I think I actually got a clip of it.
Oh, please show that. That was great. And then, carrying on with Cinderella, had to be then the moment I felt like I've scored a goal at Wembley. When we come out and we have to dress Cinderella up to go to the ball, the pretend ball we're going to have in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I put the apron on her. There's your dress. And I think there's a colander or something.
That's it,
a
and
little
some
tiara.
carrots.
But the table was normally got, as you walk out with the table and the pumpkin, has normally got just like 2 or 3 pots and pans on.
Yeah.
And I used to pull the tablecloth away,
Yeah.
and they would stay there. It's only 2 or 3, and they'd stay, whether they stayed or not, you know. I've come out this night, haven't I? The table is packed, full of pots and pans. I mean, literally packed. And I can remember thinking, this is going to be carnage. I'm going to pull this tablecloth off, and it's going to be carnage. And I think I go, oh, stand back, and if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really try and do it. And I don't know how, man, this is the luck of the comedy god. I pull the tablecloth, and not one single saucepan falls off the table.
Wow.
There was one big one right on the edge, wasn't there? It was like,
And it wobbled, and it stayed. And I'm not joking, this auditorium, I mean, lit up. And I honestly felt like I scored, and it just erupted. And the roar didn't end, it went on and on and on.
We've been very lucky to get some guests down as well. I remember when Paul, you were supposed to sing Nessun Dorma.
Oh, yeah.
And I got Paul Potts in. And what's also nice, I've known these two guys so long, especially Mrs. there, who I've known for years. We had an idea about a show that you'd been in, and we managed to sort something out. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was late 80s, early 90s. I was in South Pacific at Prince of Wales Theatre. And it was during one scene, I can't even remember which show it was, which pantomime it was. But anyway, I was doing something, and all of a sudden, I looked, and I think the first one was Mike Nielsen.
Mike Nielsen was Snow White. You came on Cleaning the Dwarf's Cottage.
That's right, yes. Yes, because I was cleaning up the cottage. So, because I know Mike, and he's been Dame for You, I see him come on, I go, oh, it's Mike. And then all of a sudden, I think someone else comes on. I kept thinking, I know that person. And then I saw Ian Mowat, who was also working.
Dressed as a dame.
Dressed as a dame. All of these dressed as a dame.
And the music's going...
Yeah, and then I think there was 7 in all. Andrew C. Wadsworth came on.
Nick Pound.
Nick Pound, Morgan Deere. I can't remember. There was quite a few of them. But all of a sudden, it slowly dawned on me who it was. And then they started to sing Nothing Like a Dame, different lyrics.
And basically, it was all those men from that production, those chorus guys, and from that production 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'd managed to track them all down and dress them all up as
Incredible.
dames.
Yeah, it was
and
amazing.
They came on and sung Ain't Nothing Like a Dame.
Leaves you so high, which is great for the last night. And then there's that, and emotional, because you get lifted so high at the end, and it's like, wow, man.
And it's incredible because it sells out
Yeah.
almost a year in advance, doesn't it? I mean, you've made a rod for your own back, mate, haven't you, really?
Well, what we're going to do, I announced, we have had great fun doing it. We've had some great special guests in, and it's been really, really lovely to do. One of my favourites, I think, was with John Altman when we managed to get June Brown down and surprise him.
Yes.
That was great. And then one of my other personal favourites was again in Cinderella when we managed to reunite Graham James, who was playing Baron Harlow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And who 35 years ago, 54, mid-60s, however long ago that is, as a juvenile lead, played opposite Gregina Freeman in Blitz in the West End. And Gregina is an old friend of mine, and we managed to reunite Graham and Gregina some 50 years later, and they sung the same duet,
stunning.
didn't they?
I mean, Well, he sung the song that he never even knew he was going to be singing as he walked on.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he recorded it back from 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. Everyone was in tears backstage at that
We've
one.
had some lovely
Definitely.
people in, and we've had Honey G as well. Do you remember? Oh, she was a great sport. She was lovely.
She was lovely.
Cracked a gag about not wanting to go and see her in Panto. Todd did, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
And then she rocks up
Yeah.
on the last night and tells him off for it. But what we've decided to do, because it's so difficult to kind of keep everybody surprised, because we tend to have the same people in the audience, more often than not we've got the same people on stage. So we were going to, this year was going to be the last year, and we weren't able to do it. So we've sort of had the last year of it. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a break for a while, recharge our batteries, and then bring it back at some time in the future. But I'm sure the last nights still will be great fun and full of energy.
Yeah, of course,
and extra things might happen, you know, because it will be the last night.
It will be the last
We
night.
just won't have pranks played every left, right and centre, and we won't have a 3.5-hour show.
It is a long show.
I mean,
It's a brilliant show. And also, I talk to the people who come along and say, oh, we only come along to see the last show. And I say, oh, wait, come along and see the actual pantomime, because the actual pantomime is also
great,
great entertainment. The good old days.
The good old days, when we used to have people sitting here.
Yeah.
But we'll be back.
yeah.
2021 with Sleeping Beauty. Got a brand new comic and dame for you.
Yeah, you're playing the Dame, love.